What's up, guys? Welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. I'm your host, Caleb. Special shout out to my high contributing patrons. Newsome, you rock. Now, let's get into today's Deck Tech with Anzrag. And guys, I can confidently say I think I busted this commander wide open. I don't say that often, but I mean it when I say it. Now, the first thing I saw is kind of what I think everybody else saw. All we have to do is equip this guy with a lore effect or activate his ability. From there, suit him up with indestructible, and we can attack into our opponent's board state, killing all the untapped creatures while netting ourselves extra combat steps. The only problem is eventually the extra combat steps come to an end. And call me greedy, but I kind of want all the combat steps we can have. So we're going to make this a fog deck. Yes, weird, I know, but we're going to be preventing all combat damage. What this is going to do is it's going to net us infinite combat steps. All we need is one creature to attack into, and boom, we've got all the attack triggers in the world. So now we include stuff like Baylor, Goldspan Dragon, we have infinite damage, infinite treasure tokens, and we can even include stuff for infinite card draw. So now that we've done that, all we have to do is utilize our commander's power to get us to our combo pieces. There's a lot of stuff we can do with a 4-cost commander with 8 power that's extremely abusable. We can draw cards, we can generate a ton of mana. It's just going to get us there. And if it doesn't, guys, again, we have a 4-mana commander that's 8 power in the command zone. We're just going to start hitting people in the face till they die. So if that sounds like a deck tech you want to get into, let's get into it. Let's kick it off by talking about how we're going to abuse all of those combat steps. Hellrider, Baylor, and Thundering Raiju will just flat out kill our opponents if we ever net infinite combat steps. Glorious Sunrise does a lot in the deck. Not only can you net infinite power, infinite life gain, and draw your library, additionally, you're just going to get a ton of value when you're not going infinite. Elder Gargaroth also does a ton in this deck. Again, we can generate infinite creatures, infinite life, or draw an infinite amount of cards. Blossoming Bogbeast, infinite life, and infinite power. If we ever do net infinite power, Chandra's Ignition is going to be a solid way to end out the game. Naiath of the Dire Hunt, again, we get some infinite card advantage here. Just make sure not to deck yourself. We're running both the Krinkos and Andoril. Now, these will net us infinite creature tokens. We also run Urabrask's Forge and Loyal Apprentice. On top of just being amazing in the deck, again, we can net infinite creatures with these. From there, we're trying to win the game with something like Impact Tremors, Goblin Bombardment, or even Terror of the Peaks. Now, notably with Urabrask's Forge, we will lose all those creatures, but also with all the other options, just passing the turn and having infinite creatures will just win us the game eventually. Goldspan Dragon, Jolene, and Druid's Repository will net us infinite mana. Mage Slayer, again, a solid way to just kill our opponents. Now they're going to take the 8 regardless, so that's just going to be lethal. Something to note about all these options, even if we're not going infinite, these are just going to provide a ton of value in the deck. Moving on to what enables us to go infinite, let's cover Indomitable Might. As long as our commander's indestructible, we have this cool interaction that allows us to deal our combat damage as though we weren't blocked. So we just assign 0 combat damage to the blocker, all of the damage to our opponent's face, and we can essentially go infinite from there, dealing all the damage we need to kill all of our opponents. All 3 of your opponents will need a blocker though. That's the only thing about this combo. Invasion of Ikoria is kind of a 1 card you win the game in this deck. You just tutor for Inara, now your commander's indestructible, flip the battle, and boom, now it assigns its combat damage as though it wasn't blocked. You got there. Then we have our fog effects of choice. We have Lull, Spore Frog, Moment's Peace, Terrifying Presence. Notably, Terrifying Presence, really good. As long as we have a pretty effective lore effect on our commander, we can make it to where one of our flyers, one of our creatures with evasion, can actually deal damage that turn, and that will result in you just winning the game. Constant Miss, another one that's pretty solid since we can recast it. Moving on to the lore effects, I wanted to be really efficient since our commander does have a pretty expensive lore effect on him. We have Roar of Challenge. Not only does this net us indestructible, but additionally, it gives us that lore effect we're looking for. Compelled Duel, just really efficient. Lore, this one's really good because it makes it to where all the creatures able to block it have to block it. So again, that's just going to be a mini board wipe unless your opponent's creatures are tapped. Is now a good time to mention we are running Benefactor's Drought to make them untap all of their creatures, and then we just draw all the cards while wiping their board. Grappling Hook is also going to be amazing in the deck. It gives you double strike, which if you don't know means you get first strike. So as long as we're not being blocked by a 9/9, we can easily take out our opponent's creatures, and it's as if he had indestructible indestructible while getting that lore effect. Hammer of Nazan makes the cut. Honestly, we have a lot of equipment in the deck and it just gives indestructible anyway, so it seemed like a solid include. Inara, again, just a solid way to get indestructible. Tyrite Sanctum, we can go ahead and skip all of those steps, and since our commander is a god, we can just sacrifice it for an instant indestructible counter. You can also do something pretty sneaky and make one of your opponent's commanders indestructible, and then as long as your commander's indestructible and their commander's indestructible, they can bounce off each other, and again, you'll net infinite combat steps. That which was taken is in the deck for that exact reason. In a pinch, it can give our commander indestructible, but honestly, we want to be using this on our opponent's creatures. That way, again, our commander can just bounce off of them and we get that infinite combat steps. Withstand Death can also make this happen, but for only 1 mana. Plaza of Heroes, again, not only can this give our commander indestructible, but it can also give our opponent's commanders indestructible, so very flexible. Moving on to the core of the deck, we have Bear Umbra. Let me explain. We are running Forbidden Orchard in the deck. Sometimes our opponents just aren't going to have blockers, so we will make them blockers. Notably with Bear Umbra, Indestructible, and Forbidden Orchard, you can net infinite combat steps because you're untapping that land, so now we can give our opponents infinite blockers, we can force them to block our commander with those infinite blockers, and then we just do the whole thing. Rhythm of the Wild, haste and can't be countered, you gotta love it. Gambles in the deck, it's really efficient at finding those fog effects because we don't care if we discard some of them, just that they're in our graveyard or our hand. Swift of Boots just to protect our commander a little bit while netting us haste. Eternal Witness to get any of our key pieces back. Then we have our Power Matters cards with Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. She's amazing in the deck because you can turn 3 Selvala into turn 4 commander and draw a card. Pretty busted. Minsk and Boo, not only is this solid removal, but again, solid card advantage. Rishkar's Expertise, Return of the Wild Speaker, and Guruk Primal Hunter just draws cards equal to our creatures with the greatest power. The Great Hinge, super easy to stick in this deck, and then you get some solid ramp and card advantage. Fight Rigging, again, super easy to trigger in this deck. You can even slam this and then your commander, boom, that simple. Toski, Bearer of Secrets, and Orin Frostfang for some solid card advantage. This is an aggro deck we are attacking, so these are going to be solid. Professional Facebreaker for a little bit of mana generation while getting us some card advantage. Notably with infinite treasure tokens, you can exile your whole library using this. Wheel of Misfortune, just some solid card advantage. Moving on to ramp, we kept it simple with Farseek, Rampant Growth, Secure Tribuilder, 3 Visits, Nature's Lore, and then Soul Ring. Again, we're just trying to ramp turn 2, guys. Moving on to interaction, we have Tybalt's Trickery. Notably with Tybalt's Trickery, you only need to counter something that's going to lose you the game, because they could just get something better off of it. Beast Within gets rid of any permanent causing us issues. Nature's Claim, again, really efficient removal. Bane of Progress to hose over those artifact and enchantment players. Chaos Warp, any permanent gone, and then we have Earthquake. I went with Earthquake here because we can net infinite treasure tokens, so anytime you can net infinite treasure tokens, it seems solid to have an infinite outlet for those, so there we go. We can deal infinite damage to our opponents, and hopefully we have more life than them, right? Alright guys, let's get into today's playtest. We'll scroll down. I'm excited to playtest this deck. What do we have here? Not really any early game ramp. Okay, we got Selvala. We're gonna do that. There's some cool interactions we can do with Selvala. By that, I mean, she's just busted. Check out this cool interaction with this busted. No, but for real, the interaction is you turn 3 Selvala, and then you can turn 4 Commander, and you'll always get card draw. So that's kind of what that is. Draw a card, next turn. Okay, from here we have Indestructible. We're just kind of missing our fog effect, so we do need card draw. But let's tap Selvala for 8 mana, because that's fair. We'll throw this out there, and then we'll throw Goldspan out there, and then we have 3 mana left, so we'll throw out Rhythm of the Wilds. Oh, I guess I could have done Naya and gotten actual card advantage. Okay, instead of... We'll stick to it. We'll attack. We'll get a treasure token. Next turn. Ooh, a fog effect. Cool. So now... let me think about this. I think we activate Selvala. 5 mana here. Activate this. Boom. So that's the 8 mana we've used. And then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have enough to net. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need one more treasure token. Oh, we don't have enough for the fog effect anyway. So what we'll do is, we probably could have sequenced that a little bit better to win this turn, could we? We could have generated infinite Krinko tokens this turn, but then we don't have Terror of the Peaks for the kill. We also could have generated infinite treasure tokens, but then again, we don't have Terror of the Peaks for the kill. So infinite creatures, infinite tokens, but yeah, we're just missing the kill. Okay, so we'll just go to our next turn, and assuming that's all good, that untaps, we just activate our commander's ability. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and tap Zavala, obviously. Cast a fog effect, will prevent all combat damage, and then boom, we got there. We attack with everything. They have to block the commander. They'll just bounce. All we need is one of our opponents to have a creature, and we win the game. And from there, whenever they untap, we tap Krinko. He untaps our creatures. We tap Krinko, untaps, tap. I think you get it. And then Terror of the Peaks is doing all the damage. And then we have all the mana in the world from Goldspan Dragon. So yeah, that's kind of how the deck works. We got there. We kind of got some nice pieces. So Vala's really helpful to have in this deck. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. It's 3 minutes. Do we want to try to do one more? Let me see if we can do it. If we can do it fast. That's only 1 land. So, okay, cool. We'll try this one. Don't forget the card draw. Here, here, here. Farseek. I'm trying to go fast. We're going for 2 play tests. That'll enter tapped. Next turn, we'll go here. Give me the Scry. Another land. Move that to the bottom. That'll enter tapped. We'll go commander here probably. Yeah, that's fine. Commander next turn. Baylor. We are missing the fog effect again. That's fine. We could just get Baylor out, or we could get Druids out and start netting some mana. Yeah, let's get Druids out. Another thing you do is you just start pressuring their life total, right? I mean, why not? Sorry, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I gotta go fast. Sorry. Okay, we'll play that. I'll attack and we'll put a counter on this. Right? Whenever a creature you control attacks, put a charge counter on. Okay, cool. Yep, that's how that works. Okay, we got Krinko. And here's the thing. Like, these things are all terrifying. Like, eventually we will just win through beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then we'll do this one. We'll attack again, put another counter on it, go to our next turn, land. And then we can throw out this beast right here. And do I want to throw out Baylor? Yeah, F it. We'll throw out Baylor. So now we'll attack. This guy will get +2. We'll send him. And then he is indestructible because of Inara. And he does have trample now. So that's getting close to lethal for somebody for sure. And then we will attack with Blossoming Bog Beast as well. So that's 2 counters on Druids still. And then let's just get Krinko out here. And then we will also get out using a counter from Druids, Thundering Raiju. And then we just full send. Actually, we'll tap this guy for a Goblin token, because that makes sense. And then we can put a counter on our commander. Our commander killed someone this turn for sure. And then we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counters on Druid's Repository. And make a little goblin. Little goblin token. Going to our next turn. Okay, that's one of the keys. So this one's a little harder. But we'll remove 5 counters from Druid Repository. And then we can put a indestructible counter on one of our opponent's creatures. The only problem now is we don't have a lure effect. So next turn we can go infinite, but this turn I think we're killing the table anyway. If we're not killing the table, we've already got one person dead, and our commander's doing another, gain 2 life. We put the counter on it with Raiju, doing another like 11 damage to someone. So it's either this turn or next. Yeah, we either win this turn or next turn, which I'm fine with that. Took a little bit to get the key pieces, but again, Baylor's doing a ton of damage every turn, which we can't calculate because we don't know what they have in their hand. Our commander's just doing a ton of damage. We do have removal in hand. And then we can start doing crazy stuff with Krinko, creating a ton of goblins and goblin bombarding creatures. And again, with 2 indestructible creatures, our commander does go infinite. So next turn, we would just go infinite. What do we draw in the next turn? Oh, and then we draw into Spore Frog next turn. So again, yeah, next turn was infinite. Turn 9, slower than usual, but sometimes you're going to get a slow hand, and the strategy still got there. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this deck. Honestly, it's kind of insane. I kind of like the idea that you could just Fog Effect and get infinite combat steps. I don't think, yeah, I'm kind of proud about this one. I just woke up one day and like, but, yeah, with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys, especially my patrons. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, really helps out the channel. If you enjoy the deck techs, that would really help me out. And again, Newsome, Chicken Salad, Excessive, you guys are amazing, as well as all of my other patrons. I really appreciate all of you guys.